Hey folks, can you hear me? Hey folks, how's it going? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So yeah, maybe we can wait 1 more minute to see if somebody else is joining, and then after that we can start the meeting. Also, yeah, if there are any topics that you would like to discuss, please add them to the agenda. Okay, folks, so yeah, I think we can get started. So there are already some topics on the agenda, so maybe Jose, you can start with the first one.
Yep. Let me put that. Which one is the first one? Okay. The toppers. I opened the PR. It was a work I was already doing before the refactoring was in the plans. So just complete it and fix the issues we have. I have there mostly in the CI, so this is a work that will remain there here with the refactory. But the main question is, should we go ahead with this or should I revise it on top of the refactoring? That's a very valid question here from Francis. I mean, something I already have in my head. What do you think? And Mike, mostly. I mean, the part of the gadget, the new gadget, the top file that was the one that I implemented will remain there. The integration test will also remain there, but all the things related to metadata, so the validating the metadata and populating the metadata, I think all this part will be gone with the refactoring. I will start reviewing the refactoring today, so I'm not sure, but as far as I understood with the discussion with Mike, it will be like that. So yeah, the question. Mike, any comment on that?
I think if it's working already, you just should go ahead with it, and we can rebase it later on. Maybe next week already as a test. I don't know.
The audio is not great. You said that if it is already ready, we can go. We should go ahead. That's what you said.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry for the audio. If it's working, yeah.
Yep, it is working.
Go ahead and yeah, then we should maybe do some tests next week to try to integrate it. I don't know what are the other opinions on that.
Yeah, I'm wondering how difficult is it to review, and if there are going to be a lot of changes that are going to be lost after the refactoring is merged. But if this is something simple to review, well, yeah, I see a lot of changes there. So yeah, I would say it depends on how difficult it is to review.
Let's consider that the changes, some of them are test, most of them are, I will say that it's the test.
Yeah. Are these tests continue to be relevant after the refactoring?
That's a good point. As far as I look at the refactory, they will not be the same test. The test will be different because this metadata file that is validating all the gadget implementations of the toppers, the tracer, and the snapshots that will be separated in different files as far as I so in the refactoring. So I suppose this test will be different. But when moving to when we will move to the refactoring, I think the same kind of test needs to be a guarantee. It's not that we are changing the way, probably in a different way, I'm not sure, but all the tests we have implemented so far, validating the for verify that the validation is fine and to verify that the population is fine, they should be replicated there. So this is like the starting point for the refactoring, in my opinion, that they shouldn't be gone. Not that they are exactly, but the intention of the test should be the same. Yeah, you see it's a lot of things, but it's not that difficult to review or changing a lot of things. This part of the test is just long. But the main changes are not that difficult in my opinion to review. This part for the integration test will be exactly the same because it will not change. This will be the same. And also the helper I introduced will be the same. The macro, this part will be the same. So, not sure. I will say half, 50% will be gone, and most of the part will be the test and the metadata part.
Okay, so yeah, I think we can give it right. I mean, we can review that and merge that. I don't see any reason why to block on the other PR. Maybe one nice thing to do, I don't know if you are willing to do that or anybody else, will be to implement this on top of the refactoring. So it will be like a good exercise to understand the new code and to see if everything is good to support also this kind of gadgets. But yeah, up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be happy
that's
to do a programming session. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So we can do a pair programming session together, maybe to try to integrate it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's an exercise I think I was also considering because it will help me to try to help me to understand better the refactoring, trying to use actually using it. So yeah, I mean, I can offer myself, volunteer myself to do this rebase also, but I just to help me to help myself to understand the refactoring.
Okay, so I think the conclusion is that we are going to try to review this PR and merge without having a dependency on the refactoring. And then we are also going to try to rebase this on top of the refactoring to see if there is no any blocker there or similar. Okay. Also, yeah, the next topic is from you, Jose.
Yeah, the other one is this discussion. Can you please open the discussion? The question is if the gadget the macro, we have gadget topper and gadget, yeah, the snapshot and topper and what is it? Yeah, tracer. It is actually right now. It is optional. You can either define the metadata by hand, manually creating the file manually, or you can add this macro in your eBPF code, and then Inspektor Gadget will create on the fly the metadata information, extract the metadata information, and build the gadget. Or if the user asks for it, it will create automatically a metadata file. The question is, should it be optional? I mean, my question is, the only possibility, I mean, the option right now where it is not useful is when people create a metadata file themselves by hand. And I'm not sure if it is actually something people will do. And the other use case when the macro is fine to be optional is when you are using gadgets like TC, gadgets that don't provide any output. So the question is, should it be optional? Because it is sometimes strange, or even when you write the documentation, reading the documentation is strange. Okay, I have to, this is optional, but if I put it optional, I need to define the metadata file myself, or if I have the metadata file, I don't have to set this macro. It is even difficult to explain. So that's why Francis in the first place was suggesting that one of them should be mandatory. And in my opinion, the metadata file is fine to be optional because you probably don't want to customize anything, just let Inspektor Gadget print things as it is able to by default. But the macro, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, this is one of those complicated ones. So the idea that we have with this design is that you define the BPF code, and then there is something that you use to annotate the BPF code. So you define the map, you define the structures, and somehow you have to say, okay, this pairing buffer, pairing array, whatever this is called, this is something that will be producing this data with this format. So that macro is just something that we are using to annotate the code. And the metadata is something that we have on top to customize how those things are printed. So that's basically the usage that we have for the metadata right now. So the idea that I have when I did this was, maybe you don't have a metadata, so you can use the macro to define, hey, this is a tracer, so you don't need the metadata at all. But the other thing is, if you have the metadata, then the macro is not really needed because that information is already present on the metadata. So that's the reason why both of them are optional. So you can use one or the another, or even you can use both of them at the same time. Should it be optional?
Question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Question: When will you have the metadata already? Did you already expect users to create themselves manually the metadata file?
That's difficult to answer. I will say yes. I don't see any reason why not. If you are copying and pasting from an old gadget, you can populate that manually. So yeah, probably most of the users will like to have like the skeleton of the metadata generated automatically, but I don't see any reason why they can't implement that by hand.
And hopefully user can use the template repository, so they don't copy from another gadget, but it's from this template.
Yeah, in the template we have already the metadata file. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I mean, in that case, and also in the case of gadgets without generating an output, when you don't need to annotate anything like the TC ones, it is not really necessary to. It is fine to not have the macro. So that's where it's useful to be optional.
What is the issue we have in that optional? Do you say that this is confusing for people?
Yep, in my opinion, it is confusing. It is even not, I'm not sure if it is clear enough in the documentation. I mean, both of us, Francis and me, in a different times and different discussion, have the same feeling. Like, why both optional? Why? When should I define one or the other? So we already have two people having the same question, questioning themselves the same, asking themselves the same, and we have the whole context of the project. I was wondering, people without the whole context, without all the information, probably will ask the same and will have the same questions. That's mainly the discussion I wanted to bring here, given that two people already asked the same.
Yeah, but if we make that mandatory, then people will have the question. If I define that on the metadata, why do I have to define also macro with that information? So
That's the way. Yeah, I mean, the same question, they can make the same question. You're right. Additionally, the justification there will be that using that macro, Inspektor Gadget is able to update automatically your metadata file. Without that macro, Inspektor Gadget will not update it. That will be the reason. When people ask that will be the reason. But again, yeah, I mean, this both positions have its own reasons, its own pros and cons. So
yeah, I see that more generally speaking, there are like two big options here. One is to have plain BPF code without any annotation, and then having a metadata file that describes all the things that are present on the BPF code. And another option is to have BPF code with a lot of annotations where you define how it should behave when there is a tracer and so on. And so how the solution that we have right now is like a mix of them. So with an annotation, you are able to specify this is a tracer, but you are not able to specify the formatting that the tracer should use. So yeah, to be honest, I don't have an answer about that. I will suggest to open an issue. Maybe we can discuss more on that, on the issue. I totally agree. There is something that is wrong there. This is not totally clear, but I'm not totally sure what is the answer and what is the solution to that.
Maya?
Yeah, is this something that, I don't know if this is appropriate, but like, can we ask on the Slack channel if you create an issue about it, just put it on the Slack channel and ask for people's feedback? Because this does seem like something that's kind of like fundamental to the gadget builder experience. I don't know if that's a way to get some feedback, because I think, yeah, it's like you guys, like, it's a good point that we're raising, and I think it will impact how easy or it is for people, how people approach building gadgets, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we can ask. I'm afraid right now, few people is using already creating themselves the gadgets. It is more ourselves. But yep, we can start the discussion there. Hopefully, there will be people that will answer, provide their feedback. Thanks, Maya. Yeah, I will do it.
Okay, thank you, folks. And yeah, the next topic is a new gadget to test the RANSI vulnerability by Alban.
Yes, so I just put it there as an example when I was trying to put it on artifacthub.io, and now it has this link, and if you go to the artifact page, it just gives the I reused the logo from Inspektor Gadget on other things. And the only thing that was needed to do that was to add some annotations on the image that are defined by artifact.io, and then that worked. So yeah. So I feel that's some progress. We didn't decide whether to use artifact.io with a containerized category, container image category, or if we use some new category that we define. But just when using container image category, that seems to work well enough. So maybe that's a bit confusing to say it's a container image because that's looks like something you can run with Docker, but that's not the case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great experiment to try to understand how to advertise the gadget, at least in Artifact Hub. But the last comment, I agree with the last comment. It is strange to be a container image. It would be great if we can have something more specific. And one question, how this associate the gadget to Inspektor Gadget? I saw that the image of the gadget was the logo of Inspektor Gadget. Where the logo of the Inspektor Gadget is coming from?
So in
You add
yeah,
it manually?
no, it's in when I generate the image-based gadget, I put some OCR annotation, and one of them is logo. So I can say, okay, pick the logo from there. And then when artifact.io is looking at the OCR registry, it will automatically, yes, that's
Okay.
yeah, this logo.
Oh, I got it.
So if you look at this gadget.yml file, I did some stuff here, some more metadata like homepage, markdown, and so on. And your discussion from before, it made me think, will it conflict with the current refactoring? Because I updated the same file as you did, and I updated it test. I didn't realize that this changed too. So Jose, the same question you asked about your topper pull request. I guess I'm asking the same thing for my pull request that had this metadata.
I just had one thought on it. I personally was thinking maybe having. Can you hear me? But I was personally thinking maybe having like a separate kind would be more helpful because then it's more searchable. Yeah, because otherwise having it can get confusing with, for example, container images. And I saw like when I opened the issue, I saw Falco rules are already doing it. Cube Armor are doing it. So then you get your own category in which you can filter in the UI. So that is something I think that's nice. So that's why I was thinking maybe having your own kind might be better. No?
I agree too. I just wonder because, for example, Falco rules, as I'm not sure if they put it in a GitHub repository or if they put it in OCI registry, because it seemed they had some code in code of artifact.io just for fetching Falco rules. So I was hoping we don't need to patch artifact.io to be able to implement the way to fetch gadgets, because that's just container image in the end. So I don't really know how it works, but yeah, I agree with the points. We should have a category, so it's nicer for users.
Yeah, I think we can at least normally what I saw that the Artifact Hub folks are implementing these types on their own. So if you just open an issue, they do that for you. And they are normally fast as well. So maybe we can try that if we think we want to do it. And if it stalls, then we can use this approach. That's
Okay.
just my idea.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't have the full context there, but yeah, in my opinion, we should also be having like a different kind of artifact. And I think this is already done by Headlamp, so we can talk to them and ask technical questions if there are any. But yeah, because yeah, storing that as a container image could be very confusing for people. So I'm sure that people will try to do Docker run the OCI package that we are providing, and that's not gonna work. So yeah, I think we need our own category there. We have an issue for that. Is this one, right? Yeah,
Yes.
got it. These annotations is like a step in that direction, right? So this is something that we have to do in any case.
Yes. So it contains both a fix. I mean, before we added some annotation in the layer, but not elsewhere. And there is a fix to put annotation in config manifest on index. But although we need some discussion to know to agree on the correct annotation. So I put what I think makes sense, but it's open for feedback if there is more things to add. Another might change in gadget.yaml if you think it makes sense or if it should be organized differently.
Okay, I have a question here. Where is this information taken from? This README here, this documentation, is that taken from the repository?
Yes, it's taking. If you look at the gadget.yaml, there is one of the annotation. It's a README Markdown URL. So this I did in OCI annotation, and then Artifact Hub is picking that, so it know which URL to fetch.
Okay, I see. Because I think this kind of information, this is something that we will also like to include in the metadata file. So maybe when you are using the gadget, by using help, you are able to get this. Not sure, maybe.
Okay, so you mean not just the URL, but the content behind the URL?
Yes, maybe if you already have the gadget on the system, you don't want to go to check the URL in the browser. Maybe if you do something like run the name of the gadget help, then the CLI could show you like this documentation. So yeah, what I mean is you don't
Yes,
have to leave
makes
the
sense.
terminal to understand how to use the gadget, but for sure, this is something that we can discuss more. But yeah, having the documentation right here will be also very good. How does it work regarding versioning? Because I see that you are pointing that to main, but if there are different versions, different tags of the gadget, how does it work?
Yes, so if you have an account on artifact.io, you have a dashboard. On this dashboard, you say what is the OCI address of your registry, and you specify which tag you use. In my case, I just used the test, which was the default anyway, but you can specify something else too.
Okay, I see.
So I guess what will be displayed on artifact.io is just the latest.
The latest version, yeah, makes sense.
And here on the right, you see tags latest.
Okay, yeah, I see. Oh, so maybe if there are multiple tags, you'll be able to click one or the other to switch between them. I don't know, just wondering how it works.
Yes, but you need to configure that in the dashboard on artifact.io. So it doesn't
Oh.
just pull everything.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I think this is very, very good for us to have this integration and to be able to publish our gadgets there. Okay, folks. So we are already over time. Is there any last minute topic that you would like to discuss? I think we already covered this about the annotations, Alban, right? So,
Yes, the rest can be discussed on GitHub.
okay, got it. Okay, folks. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. I don't have anything else to share. Yeah, see you again in 2 weeks for the same meeting.
See you, folks.
Thank you. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.